on 88.5 Soufriere FM. Tell a friend, call your neighbor. Casualty 911 is on.
And of course, good morning. It's now 6 minutes after 10 a.m. in St. Lucia and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. It's now the 18th day of November 2024. And we are excited for another episode of Casualty 911 right here. We have in studio our hosts for today, Fawn and Miss Wilson. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Romanus.
How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Oh, I'm wonderful this morning. In spite of the weather, or maybe because of the weather. Who knows?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh my God. I wasn't expecting that one for sure.
How are you, Miss Wilson?
I'm great. Couldn't be better.
All right, so go ahead.
It has been a while since Louisa and I have been on the program together. And I am very happy to have her with me today and to be here as a duo as we started before we separated and, during those alternating days.
Yeah.
Welcome to our regular listeners, our new listeners. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Fawn, based on what you said, maybe there is some truth to it, as related to some other persons, because so early in the morning to be drinking CMOS, and if you know the nutritive value of CMOS,
What is it? What is it?
and all the benefits of drinking CMOS, you might have well understand. Maybe the weather did some persons very, very good. So having said that, let me say a happy good morning to all our listeners, our market vendors, our council workers. It's always a pleasure. Our staff over at Hotel Chocolat, at the different hotels around Soufriere, also at OJ's. Of course, you're always locked on. Miss Sandra. Let me not forget Miss Sandra. It's always a pleasure, Miss Sandra, after not seeing you for so long. And all our listeners, especially in the Soufriere, Canaries Basin, as well as the bus drivers driving down the road. Good morning to everybody. And today we have a very good topic. Fawn and I. Fawn will be the one, doing all the talking today. Let me just rest that on her shoulder early o'clock. But then, it's nice having Fawn, although she's always by my side every single day. And it's also nice having Romanus in studio with us because it's such a long time.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. He's always in the background, but never with us. So again, good morning once again.
So coming up this week, we have International Men's Day tomorrow, Tuesday the 19th?
Yes.
19th of November. So happy International Men's Day to all the men out there. You are special, you are loved, and we also want you to realize that it is important for you to be here for those who care about you and for those you care about. So make a special effort to celebrate your manhood by making an appointment, going to see your doctor, taking care of your health, because without health, there is absolutely nothing you can contribute meaningfully to the lives of those around you and those that you care about. So we wish you all the best on International Men's Day tomorrow, Louisa.
And I hope that we get celebrated just as much as Mother's Day and Children's Day, which always overshadows our day, which is when is it?
Well, you have to learn to stand out for yourselves, as men.
Yeah, so I hope that we get our chance to shine tomorrow.
Because women make ourselves shine for International Women's Day, and we do the same for the children, which is coming up on Wednesday.
Wednesday
the 20th, and I'm sure you'll see a big deal. So men, you need to learn how to stand out.
We need to make a big deal for our
make
day.
a big deal for your day.
But also, Fun, I think it goes both ways, because most times when it's these activities, the fathers go all out for their partners as well as their children. I mean, even if they don't celebrate, but they always come, Daddy, I want this, or Daddy, I want that, or the ladies always want something nice and to be treated. And now is the ideal time. It's not all about the Valentine's Day and these kind of things, but now is the ideal time to treat your loved one, especially your the male figures in your life, your father, your boyfriend, your husband, and simple things. Women like to go for a little pedicure, manicure. Treat them into these
Yeah,
kind
we
of
we
things
we
too.
like
They
that
love it
too.
too. The
We
massage,
love it.
emancy.
When y'all order things from Shein, add a
Yeah,
little something
add
for
a little
us.
something. Yes,
Yes,
Rob, you have it on lock. And
yes.
these are the little things that goes a long way. And don't go and buy tools for the men to go and work harder. Like although Rob would say, well, I would definitely like some new equipment,
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't mind, but I know I wouldn't get that. So,
yeah, you wouldn't get
something,
that.
a little pedicure, a
Uh,
little manicure, a little massage, something
these
like
are
that.
the little
A
things
little
that go a
lunch.
long way. A little lunch, and women always get treated. So take that time to treat your loved one, and maybe it will become like a routine, like an every year thing for you, and that will be so appreciated by your male persons in your life. So take some
So
time.
to all the men in Louisa's life, look forward to big things tomorrow. Big
Oh,
things tomorrow.
yes,
My
Okay,
goodness,
yes.
Roy.
Louisa will make you feel loved and appreciated beyond measure. Okay?
The only person that could really get something right now is my daddy. So that's the only person I most probably take some time to give a little extra love. Is definitely my father. Apadisa?
Oh, that's not bad. At least, somebody. At least you're treating somebody.
Okay,
That
wonderful.
that's a good thing.
So on Wednesday, it's International Children's Day, and the theme is Listen to the Future. Okay, so when we get to that day, I'm sure you will hear a lot more about it. When we think of listen to the future, that means we should be paying attention to our children, in spite of sometimes we think they don't, they may not be having a reasonable conversation depending on the age, but we cannot really know what's going on with them if we don't listen. So you really have to pay attention to what is being said and sometimes what is not being said, so that you can be in sync with your child and to build on the bonding and the relationship with your children, which continues way beyond. We always talk about bonding when women are pregnant
Mm-hmm.
or when the children are really young babies, but it goes way beyond that. So we speak about breastfeeding as a bonding experience, but the bonding needs to continue via different means as they continue to grow. And one of those bonding measures is to actually listen to what they have to say. So today we will be speaking a little bit more about children of a little older age, school age children who are heading into the exam period, how we can support them in terms of not just preparing for exams, but learning how to deal with school life effectively. So Louisa will be taking us through some tips in terms of helping them to manage, especially those children who have recently entered, recently transitioned. So you transition from infant to primary, you transitioned from grade 6 to
From
form 1, you
one.
transition in, you have chosen your subjects in secondary school, and now you need to focus and start preparing for very soon leaving secondary school. So Louisa will take us through a few tips, and then we will move on to the season. I don't even want to say the Christmas season, because it seems like we're in a never ending season of events and activities and all that sort of thing. So we're going to be talking a little bit about sharing a few tips and having a little discussion on being safe during all of those seasons.
So before I start with the exam tips and so on, a gentle reminder for all the ladies who came to do their pap smear. Your pap smear results are out. Now we have a more efficient and better service being offered, so the results do come back much, much quicker than it used to. Within the 2 week period, your results should be at whichever center the pap smear was conducted. So we're asking the ladies to take some time to come to get your pap smear result at Soufriere Hospital or at any of the wellness centers where your pap smear was done. So again, there is a plea out there for the ladies to come in. There is nothing to worry about. If you have any concerns, our nurses will guide you appropriately. You have done the first step in coming in and going through the process of doing the pap smear. And ladies, we know that's something that we don't really enjoy doing, but since you've already done that part, come in and get your results. All right. So the exam tips. Oh, let me just say this. I'm being a mother, and I know a lot of children do not like to study. And being a parent, it goes a long way because sometimes we as parents, we want our children to perform the best. We help them, we want to assist them, but at the same time, we can also give them unnecessary pressure. Our job is to guide them, to correct them, to help them through, the exam time. But we have to bear in mind sometimes our actions can, really have an impact on the children's mental health, especially during exams. I'm for one guilty as charged. Fun will say that very, very early. But um, the exam tips for our children, and I hope some of you are hearing this out there. You have to start early. Start studying early enough. Some people say they cannot study early, they can only study the night before. But you can start reading and reviewing, because when you have an exam schedule, you have exams every single day, or you have one or two exams every day. There is no way you'll be able to study everything that you need to study the night before. So you're putting yourself through unnecessary stress. So, okay, you start revising, reviewing, and so on, but you need to start early, at least a month before, or a few weeks, 3 weeks at least before exam time. Because I realized one of the things at Soufriere Compre, at the beginning of the term, there is always a meeting and they tell you the exam date. So you have that entire term to start preparing. Create a study plan. What am I going to start studying first? What am I good at? What time will I study? Will I choose the weekend to start studying? The weekday? What time between maybe 7 and 9? What time is my best studying time? And you prepare a schedule. Am I a person that likes to study till late evening, or am I one that likes to wake up in the morning and study when everything is quiet? So you need to know these things. You need to consider environment in which you study in. Is it a quiet, comfortable place? Some people say they cannot study on a bed because they'll fall asleep. Some people say they cannot study without music because they're feeling bored. Some people always have a headphone and you're wondering whether they are studying or not, and sometimes that's their mode of studying. Different people have different ways of studying. You need to be comfortable while studying, and your environment must be one that allows you to study. Parents need to understand that you can monitor your children during studying time, but you cannot be distracting the children every minute. Are you studying? Are you sure you're studying? That's a typical me. Let me see your book. What page are you on? And so on and so on and so on. But these are things you have to be mindful of. Yeah. And our children need to know what technique, active learning techniques. Everybody don't study the same. but there are techniques that can help you remember stuff. What applies to one child might not apply to another child. You can help your child develop a studying technique that can help them along with that child. You cannot just tell a child a studying technique and think they will just adopt it for you. It might not work for them. So you have to work with your child in developing these active learning techniques. Yeah. And then the other thing is you can prepare exam questions, do little revision exam questions with your child, and your child can also do these things too. There are a lot of exam revision questions to find out where you at before the exam. Can I answer these questions? Which topic I'm weak at, and so on. And there are so many little exam question sheets online that you can tailor to your needs. Yeah. You need to manage your time wisely. A lot of persons want to study, but yet still they want to go out. They want to like leave that same week of exams or same month of exam. They still feel that they can do all what they used to know. There are certain things you have to cut down on. If it's the TikTok time, if it's the YouTube time, and other going out time, you need to cut down on these things because these things are time consuming. It can get you tired and so on. So you need to manage your time wisely. Also, you need to take care of your health and your well-being around that time. You need to drink a lot of water, eat a balanced diet. You need to sleep properly because you don't want to feel drained. You need to take time when you go in the shower, take long baths if you have to relax your body a bit. Yeah, do some meditation. All of these things you need to do these things. Yeah, and also you need to understand your style of learning and your approach because you cannot be doing all these things. One day you're doing one thing, another day you're doing another thing. You need to balance it out a bit and know what topics that the teachers want you. Some teachers help you out by giving you the topics. Some teachers will not tell you the topics. So you have to ensure you have all your notes. Some of the notes are posted on Google Classroom. Some children don't take down their notes. On just before the exam, they want to rush and copy notes. All of these things doesn't make sense. Ensure throughout the term you have all your notes and what is covered. If the teach a topic that you're not too acquainted with, make sure during that term you do your additional research, you go to the teacher, and don't wait exam time. That's the time you're looking at thousands YouTube videos trying to understand the topic. It does not work that way. It might work for some, but it might not work for some. Yeah. And you have to be consistent. Throughout that term, you have to be consistent in learning, in studying, in practicing your exam questions. So at the end of the term, you don't feel too pressured because learning does not happen in a matter of seconds. Well, for some it can work, but for others it might not work because everybody have different learning abilities. So you have to take your time. You have to be consistent. I know you will face challenges throughout the term, but if you are consistent, you are persistent in learning, you want to learn, there are different avenues in which you can make things happen and to make sure that you learn. So at the end of the term, when exam time comes, you are well prepared. And during that time, we're asking parents to give support to your child. I know there are parents that says, well, during my time while studying, I had to be doing so many things and I performed well. But our children might be different. That doesn't mean because during your term you had to you had to wash dishes, wash clothes, and you still had time to study. Different people have different learning abilities. That doesn't mean your child can handle all of that and still have time to study. You have to be mindful of all of these things. So you have to provide that level of support to your child. All right. So this is what Fon, you have anything to say?
Well, on the topic of chores, I just want to say that sometimes we we tend to baby our children because the whole idea of chores is also that it helps us to manage our time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you have three different chores to take care of. You learn how to manage the time to get those things done. So that can translate into your
Mm.
studying habits as well. So there are many parents out there who will tell you, I don't know why my child is not performing. You have nothing to do at home. I do everything for you. Well, that might very well be the problem. They have nothing to do. So the time is just ever flowing for them. They have no responsibilities. Children need to have some kind of responsibility
Mm-hmm.
so that they can learn to manage their time effectively. And as I said, I believe it will translate to help them to develop well and manage their time for their studying as well, in as much as their abilities may not be the same. So some children may need 2 hours to cover one topic, and some may need 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know the abilities of your child, you may not load them with 12 different chores if they take 2 days to study one topic. But the support you might provide is to take on one out of the three responsibilities that they have, to give them a little bit more time. So it's really you know, a collaboration between parent and child, a give and take.
And I tend to agree with you on that one. Um, That's true. And it also prepares the child because also when the child gets older, the child will be at work, but when the child have household responsibility, they still need to manage everything else. So I tend to agree with you on that one, Fawn. So parents, you hate and that level of understanding where you can give and take goes a long way as it relates to your child's studying time, especially during exams time. Yeah. So, having said that, I'm hoping that the teachers have always given their support throughout the teaching time. Now is the time also, even if parents were giving the support throughout the term, but also during exam time. And don't wait when results come out, you're about to kill the child. But then providing that support should have been there and continue being there during exams time. So thank you, Fawn. Let me pass it on to you now.
Okay, so we've been talking about students and managing their time and studying and all of that. So, which means that if exams are already upon us, it also means that the term is coming to an end. The term is coming to an end, and the Christmas, as we call it, the Christmas vacation is about to commence very soon. And what we notice is that Christmas, I don't know, I thought Christmas used to start at the beginning of December, but I recall even before Journée Creole in October,
Mm-hmm.
there were Christmas decorations out on sale at various stores around. So it means that the season starts early, and not just the Christmas season, but we seem to have a never ending set of events and so on happening. So in all of that, we know that sometimes, especially during the Christmas season as well, people come in from foreign. you know you have your relatives and friends visiting from the diaspora, so from outside of St. Lucia coming in. You have other visitors. It's the high tourist season and so on. So that contributes to the level of hype and the traffic on the road, and maybe the style of driving and all of that. One of the things I really want to speak about today is road safety. And road safety is an issue that can be looked at from many, many different standpoints. I'm sure the police would have a point of view, the fire service, the insurance companies, health wise. So let us have a little chat today about road safety. And when we talk about road safety, I'm really thinking of, reducing, how can we reduce the level of injury, the deaths, and so on that come about as a result of road accidents. So I'm going to be sharing some tips and hoping to engage both Louisa and Romanus. I'm sure Romanus will have an input on this one for sure. Okay, so in terms of road safety, there are a couple of things that always stick out to us. Speed is number one. Speed, and the other is distractions. What's really happening on the roads when it comes to speed? I'm not sure whether anybody really thinks about a speed limit. And we also tend, I don't know, I've been just remarking recently a lot on the number of vehicles on the road. It seems like
Yeah,
no
so
matter where you go, there are a lot
so
of vehicles on the
yeah.
road. Even in areas where you don't expect to see a lot of vehicles, there are a lot of vehicles on the road. So that in itself means that if there are more vehicles on the road, there are more drivers on the road. There are more drivers with different styles, different abilities, different levels of care and attention.
And the
Experience.
possibilities for accidents,
And the
would increase with
possibilities.
the number of vehicles that we have.
Exactly. Okay. So long ago, when you thought about overtaking, you'd say, okay, I have time. There's a corner maybe at a certain distance, and you say, yeah, I can overtake. But now I tend to hesitate a lot because of the number of vehicles, there is always the possibility that something will come around that bend with so much speed that I will not have time to execute the maneuver. And that's not because some of you might be thinking that lady is a real lameon. No, that's not because I'm a real lameon. In certain instances, yes, we have our strengths and our weaknesses, but I, I will say I'm a fairly good driver.
But before,
Fast drivers. Fast drivers.
but before we move on, we mentioned speed, and we have to look at on both angles. Persons who do not stick to the speed limit. So you have instances where you have persons who are driving really slow, way below the speed limit, and you're trying to overtake them, and that's where the accident happens.
No,
And
well,
that happens a lot.
I don't know if I agree with you on that.
Well,
view of the speed
I'm
limit.
always on the road
I
side.
mean, yes, the slow drivers, yes, can be a bit frustrating sometimes when, depending on your level of, you know how,
So you try
Luisa
to
is
overtake
distracting
them.
me.
So you try to overtake them.
Yes. But I don't think driving below the speed limit is really
It should be illegal, no?
is something that should be illegal. Driving
I
over
think-
most certainly is. So the thing when it comes to speed, there are things that we have to pay attention to. You have to pay attention to the conditions of the road. You have to pay attention to the condition of your vehicle. There are some people driving at some speeds, and if you look at the tires, if you just take a look at the tires, sometimes their brakes are low. They have not replaced their brakes in such a long time. You couple that, the low brakes, the bad tires, and maybe it has not been serviced in
And
a
the
little while.
condition of the
And the
road.
condition of the road with all the potholes and also the verges being so overgrown. Every time you decide to drive fast knowing that you have those things going against you, you're putting yourself and others at risk. Okay?
Because in driving school, they explain to you when to overtake.
When
A
to
lot of
overtake.
people, even if the driver in front of you is driving slow, but you have to make sure clearly you can
can see.
see.
And we always forget what was taught.
And we keep on forget, and they teach you that in defensive driving again.
I think
So-
we are very good defensive drivers in St. Lucia. Otherwise, we would have a lot more accidents.
And then that is what some people, because a driver is slow, one time you're so upset, like your aim now is to just overtake that person. You see, mentally, I've witnessed it. Why is that person driving in front of me so slow?
Are you
And then-
usually the slow driver?
I am.
No.
Okay.
Not these days.
So how many accidents have you caused?
No. So that is what I'm saying, because you have to make sure that you can see clearly where and how you can overtake, and make sure that the area you want to overtake. And some of us are not familiar with the area which we're driving in, and that is a problem. Because I mean, now that I'm taking the public bus, when I see overtaking happening in certain corners, I'm wondering what kind of thinking is that. So people do not gauge before they overtake. You have to make sure it's clear before you can overtake.
Okay, so
And
what?
a couple of other things to do with the overtaking, apart from looking to see that it's clear in front of you. I mean, I think we all went to driving school, and we know you check to see if anybody is about to overtake you. You use your indicator. So that also has to do with the condition of the vehicle. And honestly, sometimes you may not be aware that your indicator light is not working unless somebody tells
A lot of
you,
people just
especially
don't
in the
use it.
back.
A lot of people,
And
they
some
just
people
don't
just
use it.
don't use it. Okay, I drove recently behind somebody. I could see the indicator. I could see the corner of the front indicator, but the back
is
there
not
was
working.
nothing. So sometimes you really need somebody to let you know. So all of these things, and there's the other habit that I've noticed. The other thing that I've noticed when it comes to overtaking, people get really close to the vehicle in front of them, like tailgating, really, really close, and then they just swing out. And when they swing, so if you happen to just tap your brakes,
That's it.
that's it. And when they swing out, when they swing back in, I don't know if I'm remembering wrong. I will accept correction. That you go away from the vehicle. You don't drive right alongside the vehicle so close and then just swing back in. So you're supposed to go a certain distance
you
and
have
then
to-
indicate that you're going back in. That does not seem to be happening very often on our roads. So all of those things can contribute to accidents on the road as it relates to overtaking.
Now, in that same topic, something that I've realized, a lot of persons, they don't like people overtaking them. So they would be driving slow. And when you get to that point where you are able to overtake them,
That's pure
they
ignorance.
speed up.
Yes,
And
it
that is
happens.
very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, and that happens a lot.
It
They
happens
don't
a lot.
want people to overtake them. They're driving slow. So okay, I cannot overtake, in this corner, so you take your time. But as soon as you get that stretch where you are able to overtake, they just start to speed up.
Yes,
Another
I've
thing
witnessed
is
that
some
as
people
well.
just cannot drive behind another vehicle. Like they feel they don't have to be behind another vehicle. So every vehicle they're behind
They
is
have
like
to overtake.
they have to overtake. That doesn't make sense.
And I would like the drivers to consider when we decide to overtake, how much time are we gaining really by overtaking? Especially you notice sometimes somebody will overtake you and then 500 meters later you see them just swinging in. Or you overtake to stop just at the next gap.
Yeah. Well,
What is the point of that?
That happens a lot.
You speed up and you overtake a line of 6 vehicles that are not driving very slowly, especially on that stretch going into Viewport. And then for all of us to end up at the traffic light at the same time. And you have risked how many lives? Yes, because there are oncoming vehicles that have to swerve aside for you and all of those things. So what are we really gaining? Let us think about it. There are situations, yes, when you overtake, you will be way past that person because the person is driving so slowly. But there are situations where you really need to, just reconsider. Distractions. What are the
Your
distractions?
phone, of
Cell
course.
phones.
The phone, yes.
Or if you
You
have
see
somebody
people
next
like
to you.
this with the phone up in front like that texting. I don't know. I talk on the phone.
Guilty as charged.
I talk on the phone, but the texting, I always wonder, wow, these people have some real
Skills.
skills because I don't think I can manage. And maybe in that case, I would accept that Lameon title because I will not text and drive because it really takes your focus off the road.
Yeah.
I have seen people roll through pedestrian crossings on their phone
Yeah.
texting because they just not
Yeah, because
paying
you're on the phone,
attention.
after a while you get lost.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so that is one of the distractions, the texting, the talking on the phone. Sometimes the loud music is a distraction because depending on where you're driving, for example, there are so many corners. You may not be familiar with the road and you cannot hear. You cannot hear the horn, you cannot hear the oncoming traffic. So that is a distraction.
Yeah, especially when it comes to motorcycles. Sometimes you have your vehicle so loud that you don't hear them, and that's where the accidents happen. That happens a lot on the highway.
Your partner can be a distraction, especially if you argue. Especially
The
if you
women,
argue with,
the
you know.
women, yes.
Why is that women? It
So,
goes both ways,
okay,
Rome.
let us say your passenger.
Your passenger, yes.
No, women are never passengers. They're always instructors because they're always gonna tell you what to do. So it's like,
And worse,
why?
some of them don't even have a
Yeah.
license, Lord.
Why you tell me why how to drive when I'm always driving when you're not there? Like, why? So that can definitely be a
Okay,
distraction.
so definitely your passengers can be a distraction on the road.
Yeah.
The
for
other
sure.
thing when it comes to the injuries is I know some people don't consider the seatbelt to be of any value because I'm sure both of you might have heard certain explanations like sometimes that thing holding you back and then with those airbags that bursting in your face because you tied in and you cannot get out, but the seatbelt is supposed to keep you safe. So to the helmets for the riders and using the proper footwear. I see a lot of catapults and fancy slippers. They may have fan and brand name, but they're still a slipper at the end of the day, and probably not the best footwear if you're going to be using a motorcycle. And the other thing I've noticed is not meant to say that all motorcycle riders are like that. But just recently, a motorcycle went past me on the left, was overtaken on the
Oh, yeah, I
left.
Yeah, they
remember.
do
So, and I did not see the vehicle the motorcycle in a line of vehicles, and you just suddenly hear in that small space that boom,
Yeah, you just hear that
yeah,
millisecond.
it can startle you.
Yeah.
It can really startle you, and that's not something I expect to have somebody overtake me on the left
No,
because we drive on the left and
Yeah.
overtake on the right.
And you had other motorcycles
Yes, on the
overtaking
other
you on the
side.
right too. So
Yes.
both the left and the right. That was not nice.
Yes. So we need to pay attention and be a little bit more considerate in our use of the road. So in as much as with the motorcycle you can maneuver small spaces, you still need to be aware of the dangers and to be a little bit more considerate. Okay, so in terms of being aware of our surroundings too, we also need to, as Louisa mentioned, you might be driving in an area that you're not familiar with. Anytime I go up the Blue Road, I'm always happy when Louisa is there, which is the reason why I go up that road anyway.
Anyway.
So I'm happy when she can guide me in terms of where to pull up and allow another vehicle to pass because when you look at some of the roads, there's so much grass on the verge, you don't realize that it's actually like a precipice on the other side, right? So if it has been raining, it could be soft and all of that. And sometimes I mean
You don't know it, so
you don't
yeah,
know,
so
and you don't really know the road, and you keep driving, and then you in a lock with another vehicle, and then to try to reverse to make space and all of that. So let us drive cautiously, slowly in the areas where we are not familiar. There's nothing wrong with that. And usually those roads, the condition of the road is not the best either. So you really need to pay attention. Be your most alert in those areas.
Well, like they say, you're supposed to drive for yourself and for others as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But something else, persons need to be honest with themselves. There are a lot of persons who cannot drive at night and they insist on doing
Oh,
it. Just
yes.
this weekend I had a situation where, I'm driving behind someone and I'm realizing that every time a vehicle is coming, like they literally slow down to the point where they're almost stopping, and behind them, I'm not even, if I was not alert, I would just run into them on a stretch. Like a vehicle is coming and you're slowing down so slow because I guess they cannot see. So if you're blind at night, then don't drive.
But these lights
Yes, some of the
nowadays,
lights
oh my
are.
God, they're so and fellas, if they weren't bright, but these things are blinding
Well,
you.
that person, I don't think it was really, I think it was just, I don't
Maybe the
know.
person,
Yeah,
yeah.
there are situations
Yeah, there
like
are
that where people
persons,
really cannot see
like that
very
person
well
like
at night.
really could
So
not see,
they
like
could
they
not.
would literally, every time a vehicle is coming the opposite direction, it's like they would have to stop because I don't know.
Now,
But
the other thing with the lights being so bright, it also has to do with the number of vehicles on the road. So before you would be driving at night, you meet one vehicle. So it's like just a momentary dazzle. But when you have 10 vehicles, one
Probably.
behind the other with all those lights, it's not momentary. So it's like you there for a long period of time, and you being bombarded with those
to
lights.
me, the lights nowadays are even brighter because I myself find, whoa, I can't even drive at nights anymore.
But were you able to drive at night before?
Yes, I could
Exactly.
have.
So it's not the lights, it's probably your eyes.
But
So so you need to
but
you need to
remember, we're talking
evaluate and
about the
say, okay.
volume of traffic on the road as well.
So you need to look and say, okay, probably my eyes are not as good as they were
Well, I need
before.
glasses if that's the case,
I need
room.
glasses, or I need someone
Or,
to
Okay,
drive
eye
me.
or I
specialist.
need to stay home at night.
Yes.
That was this one time. That was this one
No,
time.
I think that's the direction Rome was heading. Stay home.
No,
You can
there's a
drive
lot
at
of
night.
I
Stay
was
home.
on work duties, I was coming down to Soufriere that time after 7. I'm saying, oh my God.
I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Now we often put drivers in the spotlight when it comes to road safety, but I think as pedestrians we also have a responsibility. We have a
That's
responsibility.
true.
So in areas where there are sidewalks, please, if the sidewalks are not blocked, use the sidewalks. Use the sidewalks. Where you have the pedestrian crossing, it is amazing to see how people use a pedestrian crossing. Some people will run from wherever and just jump in front of the vehicle. Sometimes when the vehicle is about to move, I always thought that when you go to cross a pedestrian crossing, you stand, you wait, you ensure that the vehicles are going to stop, and then you cross. But
Yeah, most
some
persons they
people,
don't care. They feel like they have the rights
they
that
yes, they
that's
have the
their
right,
right. They
so they
just
just
walk.
cross, and they can jump from your side, the side of your vehicle that you haven't even seen them, and just appear in front of you in a split second. So pedestrians, please be aware of that when you're walking at night. How many of us have had close calls of people walking on the road at night? Sometimes they're in dark clothing. You don't see them until, or sometimes because it's so bushy.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, and sometimes you have those narrow roads, and you have several people using the road walking, and you have two abreast on one side, two abreast on the other side. So it makes it very difficult for a driver to maneuver in that space. So if there is a group, try to use one side of the road so that the driver can use the other side. Whichever side is safest for you as a pedestrian, use it. And allow the driver to use the other side of the road. I don't know if you've noticed that, if you all have had any experience, any encounters of the sort. But some of those, so these are some of the things that I have noticed, and I think it puts both pedestrian and driver at risk. Now, when we get into accidents, what happens? What happens when we get into accidents? There's usually some damage to the vehicle. Sometimes people get injured, and sometimes, very unfortunately, people are killed in accidents. Now, the injuries can range. You could have just a little stiff neck. You can have broken bones. You can have internal bleeding. You can have a whole lot of injuries. Now, no matter what the injury is, usually if you are employed, you will miss out on at least a few days of employment. So the result of being in an accident is one of the first things is that you're going to have some kind of a financial cost to repair your vehicle, because most of us, there are many vehicles on the road out there, not comprehensive. You take it, right. So depending on the circumstances, you need to repair your vehicle. You need to pay the hospital bills. If you were responsible for a family, you still need to try to provide for your family while not being at work. And I am not a banker, but based on my, just speaking to people, it seems to me that there are quite a few St. Lucians where we don't have such big savings. The cost of living is high. It's very difficult to save. And sometimes, every time you start to save, something comes up, right?
Yeah.
What you say, Rome doesn't fit into that category?
No, Rome is a banker.
So Rome is a banker. So Rome.
No, basically, what you said is a lot of people are broke, so they don't have that that cushion that they would need. So
now,
yeah, I agree.
And that's a very serious issue, because sometimes the person who is involved in the accident is actually the sole breadwinner for a family. So you have loss of productivity, and you have all the added stress of not being able to take care of your responsibilities, your financial responsibilities towards your children, and so on.
And fun, one of the things, it can really lead to disability. And when you reach to that disability stage, after an accident, it can cause a lot of anxiety and depression and a lot of mental issues, because you can no longer work, you can no longer do the things that you used to. You might feel that you're a burden to your loved ones and all of these things. And not only that, the even if there is no disability, but the recuperating time, can lead to a lot of frustration, and a lot of people do not know how to deal with these things, and that's one of the things they have to be mindful of. Yeah.
So that is a very serious outcome of road accidents. So let us try to be a little bit more considerate of each other road users. In terms of the healthcare system, well, we all know that it can put added pressure on emergency services when you have a lot of road accidents.
Especially during the season.
Where
people lose a lot of blood and there is a shortage of blood. And where, at that time, they're always asking for people to donate.
And we will do that right now as well. I mean, I know in St. Lucia, traditionally, people always think, no matter how many times we say it, and the people from the blood bank come and they speak about it, we have this idea that you donate blood to your family member or a friend, specifically when they require it. You can donate blood like giving offering at church,
Mhm.
or making a donation to a children's home or to a needy family or whatever it is. And there is no real cost except your time and your transportation, obviously. So these are some of the costs involved. What do you need to donate blood? You just need to present yourself. They will ask you the relevant questions and they will check to see whether you are capable of donating. And you donate blood. It's better to have a reserve of blood, because you never know who will be in an accident. You may figure, I'm not a driver. I will not be involved in any accident. You might be a passenger on a bus.
And donating blood is not only for accidents, for major surgeries and other things too. So
Y-
you might,
Absolutely. But since we were talking about
Mhm.
yeah,
accidents, that is the road accidents are one of the reasons why sometimes people's surgeries have to be delayed. Because if somebody comes in with a need at that moment for blood just to survive, who will get it? Who will
yeah,
get, if the stocks are low, who will get it?
the
The
person will get
person
it.
who
Mhm.
has the emergency. If yours is an elective surgery, they would say elective. They'll say you can wait a little while. But waiting a little while, there's no guarantee that you will be able to have your surgery within a day or two. You may have to wait even longer, until the blood supply has been replenished. So I invite all who are listening, please make a special effort to donate blood at the St. Jude Hospital lab at OKEU. Sometimes the mobile bank from the OKEU hospital goes out to different locations. They
Mm-hmm.
usually advertise where they will be. So just make it your duty. It's not a very long process, and you can make a decision as to how often you want to donate. You can donate 4 times for the year, 3 times, 4 times for the year. But you can decide, okay, it's something that I will do once a year. Once is better than not at all. Twice a year, better than not at all. So let us try to help each other out by simply donating blood at any one of the labs, St. Jude or OKEU, especially as we get closer to the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Rome, I
Yeah.
guess you will be donating, and Louisa,
Yes, definitely. And I'm
I
hoping.
put you all on the spot right away. Let's get some
Needle
pledges.
phobia.
Let's get
Ah,
some pledges.
after COVID-19, I afraid of needle.
No, we have to do it. Sometimes sometimes you use you end up using your own blood. Something happens to you and you
Yeah.
end up in the hospital.
Or
And it's
close
your own.
family
Yeah.
member, somebody that you know, somebody that you really care about. So let's not think simply in terms of when my
Mhm.
relative or friend needs it, I will rush to donate. Okay.
Yeah.
So let us try to incorporate that into our lifestyle. Blood donation. We donate a
If
little
you have
blood.
nothing to give back, you can give back blood.
You can give some blood.
Very much so,
All right.
especially if you
Especially what, Lisa?
if you have the blood type that everybody needs.
Okay. All right. So no matter what the blood type, make a little donation this year before you get too much into the season.
Especially with alcohol,
Yes.
you know.
Okay. So that rounds it up for me as it relates to road safety. I don't know if any one of you would like to add anything.
Um, I want to add a little thing because most of us now in that season there are so many events happening, a lot of mass events, all the shows and so on. But after all this enjoyment, and make sure you have a designated driver, because I'm sure a lot of you will be indulging in alcohol as well as other drugs. So you definitely need to make sure you have a designated driver at these mass events, because again, you have lost sleep, and so on. So most persons, they drive long distances back home, and that's one of the things too. Some persons don't, sleep in the same area or close vicinity. So all of these things can lead to accidents. A lot of persons need to be mindful of all of these things. During the season, yes, we're not saying that you shouldn't enjoy yourself, but be mindful that you have a designated driver to take you to and from these events, and to ensure that everything goes well, because a lot of persons have seen it at mass events. The moment they're intoxicated, they want to drive and they don't want anybody else to hold the steering, and that's a problem. And so therefore I want persons to be mindful of all of these things. Drinking and driving certainly do not mix, and some people have that mindset. The more they drink, the better they drive. You understand? So I want persons to know that. Cut down on the alcohol amount if you do not have a designated driver, so you can get home safely to your loved ones.
And we will definitely speak a little bit more about that before we do our last show. I think our last show should be next week, Monday,
I'm not sure
the
exactly
25th of November.
Yeah.
And then, all the Christmas promotions will be happening. I hope I win something this year.
Definitely. Just keep
I
listening.
hope I can call in, get the line to win something wonderful from 88.5 Soufriere FM this year.
Yep, definitely. All right. And just so add my piece, persons, we need to speak up because just recent I don't use public bus that much. And I had to use public bus once going from Castries to Vieux-Fort. And that was the toughest ride I've ever had in my life.
You feared for your life, Romanos?
It was like the bus was literally flying. And I'm looking around and everybody's just seated there calmly.
Calm and
like,
cool.
I feel like I'm dying because I'm not used to somebody driving me and then driving so fast. So I think we just speak up. You see your friend driving too fast. You see the bus driver driving too fast. You just say something. I did not say anything because I was probably in shock. But
you were in shock.
Yeah.
And the moment
to Vieux-Fort?
The moment you say something, I think everybody would turn and watch
like,
you as.
Yeah, why y'all not saying anything? Y'all always on the bus. Like, why not say anything? I'm new here.
They don't know that.
They know well.
So we need to be mindful, guys. This has been Casualty 911 4 minutes after. Any last words, Sasa?
Oh, yeah. I need to remind persons again for their pap smear results, to come in and get their pap smear results. So we really want persons to come in and get your pap smear results. When they call you, if you see the missed call back. If you don't get in touch with our nurses, take a cool walk to whichever wellness center or Soufriere Hospital, especially Soufriere Hospital. Come in and get your pap smear results.
So if you have had your pap smear within the last, at least 2 weeks.
Yes.
At least 2 weeks. So not if you did it yesterday, but 2 weeks. Give yourself 2 weeks.
And come and get your
and
results.
come and check for your results. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us on Casualty 911 today. It was a pleasure as always. See and hear you next week, Monday. And we always look forward to you calling and making a contribution. So I look forward to that next week, Monday. Thank you so much.
My mommy protected me and my little nephew when she got vaccinated.
My doctor is protecting me. She's vaccinated.
My aunt protected me when she got vaccinated.
COVID-19 vaccines are available for people from the age of 12 years and older. Being vaccinated against the virus does not only protect you, it also makes our country safer for those who cannot receive the vaccine.
Vaccinate for you, for yours, for us.